Hello, Earthlings.
Non-Earthlings.
Ridiculous ones and soon to be ridiculous ones. You are right on time for the ridiculous hour. I am standing kind of close to make Anna look small. Here's Baby J, as you all know, producer of the ridiculous hour. Thanks for the help with the audio. So I'll just start with a quick introduction. The main reason for the show today is Teal and Blake wanted to bring awareness to the ridiculous hour and to help us spread the word on what we're doing, you know, all of our accomplishments, the fact that we're the #1 rated galactic online radio show. It's a pretty big deal. Yeah. Now, the reason we're doing the show is because Teal and Blake and crew are coming to Houston, so we're pretty stoked about that. Everyone in the room will probably be there. I want to give some foreshadowing just real quick. We have a musical guest on. Her name is Sherita Perez. Say hello, Sherita. So we're pretty excited to have Sherita Perez on later on. So we're probably going to roll through the interview. Teal's going to be with us for a little over an hour, and then we're going to swap over and have some music from Sherita after we let Teal go. So we have the whole screen back. Oh, there she is. Hi. Hello, my dear. Welcome, Angel.
Hey.
Glad to have you on the show. So how are we doing, Teal? How have you been since the last time we spoke?
When did we speak last?
I don't remember whether it was I think it was since the interview we had pizza together, since the last interview we did together. Do you remember pizza in Colorado and Utah?
Oh, Utah.
You told me that when I said I didn't have any fear anymore, you told me I was full of shit.
Oh, that sounds like me.
Now I remember.
You're like asking me how have I been since 2 years ago.
Oh, I thought it was more like a year and a half ago. But yeah, I want to know. I want you to fill us in on the last 2 years. It's been a weird 2 years.
2 minutes for a summary.
Yeah, 2-minute summary. A minute for each year.
And
Hell, lunch. Hell. Yeah, literally this has been for 3 years actually. It's been a dark night of the soul for me, honestly.
today?
No, like for the last 3 years.
Gotcha.
I wonder, and we're all one being. I don't know that many people that are like, man, I'm in the zone, I'm in bliss, everything's coming to me. Like even people that are manifesting mad awesome stuff, it's like there's still these challenges. We were talking about that the way over, and so that'll be my first question. So, how do we know when the universe is trying to tell us to give up because everything we're trying to move towards is just not happening, it's not in the flow, or whether the universe is saying, all right, motherfucker, like how much perseverance you got? How much tenacity do you have? You know, like how much resolve do you have in getting to this goal you think you want? How do we know which it is?
It's neither of those things. It's not about that. Basically, what the universe is trying to get you to do is go inside. When you run up against those roadblocks, it's basically an opportunity to see what's inside that's holding you back. That's just an external reflection. So it's not about the universe saying, push through this, I dare you to push through this. It's about going in and seeing what those roadblocks are inside.
But
Make sense?
I don't mean to be difficult, but like real talk, you know, this afternoon, the last 4 or 5 days, I've been trying to get this set up, right? This. It used to be super, super easy with Google Hangouts. Long story, that doesn't exist anymore. I know that the answers to this riddle was not inside me. Like I had to call IT guys. Thank you, Ryan Peake. Bless your heart. Thank you, Jordan Pinnell. You know, like I had to figure it out. I had to put my focus on all this yucky IT techie stuff and figure it out, or we wouldn't be here. But I will say, maybe this helped. I stopped. I was like, Ryan, give me 20 minutes. I went sit upstairs, and I just kind of meditated and sat with it because I knew I wasn't moving forward. I wasn't going anywhere. So I paused, and maybe that, but I don't feel like so you're saying it's not that the answers are inside, but you just need the stillness and then come back to finding the answers?
No, it depends on the issue. Sometimes the answers really are inside, and sometimes that pause leads to answer. But if you don't make space for the pause, there's no insight that comes in. So you're basically just spinning wheels.
Been doing a lot lately, I think. So as a collective, how do we? I think I think most people have had a rough couple years. That's just being honest. I don't want to say all, but most for certain. And some really good people that are doing good things are having bullshit come at them from the police or from whatever, you know, drama is coming at them. It's like, vibrationally, it doesn't seem like they deserve that. I don't know if that's the right verbiage, you know, deserving and vibration, but it just doesn't feel, just. It doesn't feel justified what is happening.
Well, there's nothing just on a human level about what's going on here in the world today.
Humans.
I know. The worst.
So how do we, so my life lesson is justice. Am I just screwed moving forward? I mean, how do we get back to a place that's more just? I mean, and even on the bigger scales of like getting our free will back as humans, because I feel like it's been taken away from us.
With the life lesson of justice, you're kind of in some trouble, because what's just in a multidimensional universe, it's going to look much different from one perspective versus another perspective. This is the biggest issue, trying to explain to a physical human that from a universal perspective, everything is accurate. We don't even want to say right? Because down here it's about right or wrong, just or unjust. From a universal perspective, everything's accurate. There is no such thing as a reflection that isn't a perfect match, an accurate match to where somebody's internal state is. Now, that's really hard to swallow as a physical human. Because we want it to be like, oh, if you're a good person, then good things happen to you. But we all know that wounds mirror themselves in painful ways. The universe really does not care how to wake you up. Like, I have to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the universe doesn't reward some people for being shitty. Just being honest, like it doesn't. The distribution of circumstances doesn't seem fair.
So I'm confused about why this is fairness.
Why
is this conversation about fairness? Like, who decides what's?
I need to give up my desire for justice and for fairness. It's an unfair process. I don't know.
Well, what if you adopt an addiction to the idea of accuracy instead of fairness?
I'm down.
Bullseye.
So
You know what I mean by,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
do you know what I mean by that?
No, I was about to guess, but I'd rather hear from you.
You're basically going to lose a battle if you stay attached to the idea of right versus wrong or good versus bad. But you have to have that to think about what's fair and what's just. Those two concepts are like married, right? So basically, in a universe that's based off of law of attraction, you're going to lose that war if you take it on. I mean, there's no way to win that war, because everything here is about mirroring. Law of attraction is nothing more than law of mirroring. It's always accurate, perfectly accurate. It doesn't matter whether it's fair. And there are a lot of good people on this planet with a hell of a lot of wounds. So when the mirror basically says, look, you've got this big gaping hole, isn't it uncomfortable? Like, we feel that and go, oh my God, it's not fair because this is such a good person, but it's just accuracy. I'm of anyone this year who should be like, this is the most unfair crap in the whole world. Like, if you knew what's been going on with me this last 3 years, it would blow your mind.
Yeah.
But it's accurate, completely accurate.
And when you say accurate, you mean you, with whatever way attracted it, and you're owning that, are accurate in some other way than that?
I use the word attract because we understand law of attraction. We've been using these types of terms, but I almost feel like we've got to stop with the word attract, because it implies some kind of active force when it's literally nothing more than stepping in front of a mirror. So it's like, did I attract the image? You know,
Doing it.
An innate part of the universe and being human.
So Omar says an innate part of the universe and being human. But so let me ask a direct question. Can I control with my thoughts and beliefs whether or not I get mugged?
Technically, yes.
But accurately, no?
No, technically, yes, if you could control all of it. But the issue that we have is that from day one, we come into the process of socialization. The process of socialization teaches us some aspects of us are acceptable and some aspects aren't. The minute that you make that decision, basically a rift is created within your embodiment of conscious and subconscious, both of which are a point of attraction. One you are conscious of, one you are not. So basically the entire process of awakening is to make the unconscious conscious, to make these integrate basically. But the universe is going to mirror both. So it doesn't matter how much you do on this conscious level to try to focus on all this stuff, it doesn't take care of what you're unconscious of. You know?
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
This right here is what people who don't really understand the way that the human embodiment works, they tell you that no matter, anything you focus on basically improves the overall vibration, which is true, but it doesn't take care of the stuff you haven't taken care of. Because, it's super easy to think about it this way. Do you play sport?
Do I? I play disc golf.
Okay, disc golf, to begin with, that took a hell of a lot of focus, like a lot of focus, and you couldn't do certain things. Now you can do those things, potentially even do those things without thinking about it. Potentially what's scary is you could have a conversation with me and do those things. Now, that moment where you're like, oh my God, I literally just drove all the way from work home and I didn't even think about driving the entire fucking time I was driving. That's the point that you realize the power of the subconscious mind. Now, what if that is what your mind is doing all day, every day, but relative to beliefs?
Okay, I'm feeling that. So
Subconscious is in control.
Right, the subconscious is running some shit, running some programs. So let me ask another direct question. Can I get to the point with my own brain that I can control whether or not I get mugged or not, despite whether or not the muggers have whatever going on? In other words, like, do I have that control to not be affected by other people's reality, even if they're jacked up and I live in the worst neighborhood in Houston or whatever? Can I be so clean in my thoughts and I'm talking hypothetical, that I can control my own stuff and that keeps other things that I don't want out of my field, like being mugged?
Until the day that you recognize oneness, yes.
And then when I recognize oneness?
You're screwed. I'm sorry. I have to joke, but theoretically you could create a reality for yourself which was a bubble. That bubble would be painful to other people who perceived you in their reality in the bubble. But the moment that you realize that you are everything in existence, you are no longer going to feel good in a bubble, so it doesn't even matter. Asking me that question proves useless because you would no longer feel that it was okay to cut yourself off from the mugger. It wouldn't cause you to feel good. It would not be in the direction of your expansion, for example.
Well, he's telling me to ask a question, but my question is going to be totally different.
Okay, well, let me stay on this one and then I'll let you get
Okay.
This is something I think a lot about because, you know, I do live in the hood in Houston. I've always lived in the hood my whole life because I'm not afraid of black people and Mexicans. Like I would prefer to pay less rent and hang around people I enjoy than hang around rich white people and spend more money on rent. So I've lived in the hood pretty much my whole life and never been mugged. I feel like I don't have a fear of that, so it doesn't show up for me. But I also don't necessarily feel bulletproof. But can I get to the point where I let the bubble down and I feel oneness with the people around me that are muggers, but they don't mug me because of you see what I'm saying? Like, in other words, can I get out of the bubble and still be safe?
Are you able to be vulnerable?
Well, wouldn't it not matter if you did?
Well, if I take the bubble down and I get mugged, it matters. Like,
but if you understand oneness, right, it wouldn't matter if you get mugged or not, right? Is that?
I think it would still matter. It would still hurt.
Right.
My face would still hurt if I got punched. I mean, my $200 would still be missing.
But you understand oneness, so there you, right?
Right. So like,
Why would you mug yourself?
You might why you might yourself, bro?
but I mean, I've understood oneness for a long time. It's integrating it and feeling it and actually, living from it. But understanding it is easy. It's just like, oh, we're all one. It's easy to understand, but to integrate that is harder. And I don't know. I don't think feeling oneness means you don't mind if someone punches you in the face and takes $200 from you. I don't think that changes that. I don't know. What, Teal?
Having a bubble up or down has nothing to do with whether you get mugged or not. Nothing.
I guess I misunderstood the analogy then. So, so how do how do you integrate the oneness and so that you feel one with others, but yet you don't, get pulled into the drama or raped or mugged or whatever?
Okay, I'm sorry. Like pulled into there is no drama, damn it.
You mean once you get oneness, there's no drama?
Yeah.
All right, ask me a question.
You got a problem with that?
No, I've been struggling with this for a long time.
Well, don't be like, oh, I'm going to deflect the conversation. If you've been
No, I'm not giving up on it. I'm going to listen to this again later and probably get it. I'm not giving up on the topic. I'm hard-headed and stubborn, and I realize that I at some points have to like stop.
No, don't stop.
So
Don't stop. This thing you're doing basically is going to get you to the answer. I don't want you to give it up. I want us to go basically hash this like we're doing so that you can get to exactly what you're looking for. I want that.
I'm stubborn. If you want to stay on it, I'm with it. I just don't want to lose our audience. But they're one with me, so if they jump off, then hey, that's me giving up on myself, which I just tried to do and you didn't let me.
No, this guy said the guy has a good question, in my opinion. That's what Pug said.
Okay, so let me try to rephrase my question. Or do you just want to try to give me what I'm missing from this equation? Which would you prefer?
Your bubble makes you more unsafe than anything else. Your bubble makes you other. Now, what's ironic is you say that you live in the hood, right?
Yeah.
And that you're in a bubble. But why, I mean, the reason that there's such an interference between these, what you're calling the richer white folks and the poor hood folks, is because each is in a bubble. They're literally a reality that doesn't mix.
Well, in Houston actually do mix, to be fair. I mean, we have mansions next to trailer parks all the time. So this is a little bit of a conundrum in that way. But and not to break the analogy, I still feel the analogy, but I'm just saying, like literally 5 blocks that way, it's nice neighborhood, and 5 blocks that way, it's worse. Like it's very tight and mixed. And
do they interact with each other?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, to some degree. I think more than in most places. In Houston, we're pretty hospitable.
Yeah.
I think, don't y'all think?
Yeah.
Most people here think that. I mean,
that's why it's hard to leave.
But are we? And here's the thing. Here's the analogy I want to create, because you said the bubble creates more danger, and I feel like the fear of getting mugged is what would cause the danger of actually getting mugged, in my belief. Do you feel that that's fair to say?
Well, you're sort of accurate, but this is what I mean by that. I can only injure you if I see you as other.
So what do we do about that? I mean, obviously this isn't something we can change in the entire humanity. I mean, as a group, maybe collectively we can, but today we can't change that in humanity. So all I can do is clean up my own vibration and my own thoughts. But so are you ascertaining that, or postulating, I should say, that if we can get to that vibration, then you're not going to be in danger of other people hurting you, even if they're not there at all?
Even if they're not there at all?
Well, oneness. If they're not, they don't have to get the oneness. If I get oneness, that makes me protected. Like literally, physically, not just from training.
No. That has to.
This is where the distinction.
No, whether you're protected or not, I'm saying that basically having a bubble is very unsafe in general. But whether you're protected or not has more to do with your other underlying issues of safety in general. Like, it's not really about whether you combine yourself with other people or not.
So it doesn't really matter where you live, is my overall point, right?
The same way that it doesn't matter whether you eat junk food, but the reality is that, like, if you increase your vibration, you're going to be naturally drawn to certain areas. So, like, if you're naturally being drawn to a dangerous area, you got to ask yourself, why the hell am I matched to that?
But dangerous by whose perspective? I mean, I don't consider this dangerous where I live. My daughter's mom considers it dangerous. So for her, she probably shouldn't live here, you know, but my daughter doesn't think it's unsafe. So my daughter's fine here. Although she did hear a shooting in the backyard the other day.
That's a
negligible.
common.
Negligible shooting. I mean,
Some fireworks.
That was a backfire. That was a car or something.
I don't think anyone got hurt.
That's part of the trade. That's part of third ward, bro.
True.
Part of third ward. So I guess the thing I'm trying to capture is what I would like to believe is that, you know, we're all responsible for our own safety and happiness, and, you know, and a lot of people I chat with about this on a deep level don't agree with me. They say, you know, you can clean up your vibration all you want, but you can't clean up that guy's vibration and that guy's vibration, and they're crappy people, so they can come steal from you or beat you up or whatever. But I don't know. I've had really good luck living in the hood. I can say that, and I haven't had much fear. So I feel like from my own experience, it works to, you know, I feel safe, I am safe kind of thing.
Where's the pain here for you?
I don't feel like I have a lot of pain. I'm trying to get to a distinction. Like, I want to know, what I would love to hear you say is that, yes, you can clean up your vibration to the point where you don't have to worry about anyone else's vibration, because I can't control those people.
Boundaries.
And most of them are
Why do you
crazy.
want to control those people?
Because I don't want them mugging me. I mean, I don't need to control whether they pay their rent or not or whatever. I don't need to control whether they're happy or not. I just want to be able to control whether, like, to me, it's a scary universe to live in, to walk around and be susceptible to someone else's bullshit without it being something I drew. Like, for me, for some people to say, oh, I drew it into my experience is scary to them. For me, it's liberating, because at least I can control it, and I can look at my own vibration. If something happens, and say, what the hell was I thinking? But then there's that blame. You see the loop? I mean, I know you know this loop, too. We've talked about it before. Then there's that blame of,
No, I don't understand why this is an issue for you if you have never been mugged. Because the reality is like, with the kind of mentality that you just expressed, saying that you're the kind of person who is absolutely terrified of having no control over your reality, you seem like the exact kind of a person who would be a match to feeling that way, which may or may not include.
That's an easy example for people. If you really want to know my life, it'd be, why does my daughter's mom keep jacking with me over and over again when I've done nothing but, like, turn the other cheek and been kind and sincere back, and she just, you know, brings the heat over and over again. It's like, what do I have to clean up? Like, I've, you know, and that's just one example. But everyone in this room, I think, that I know has had crazy bullshit happen to them in the last year or two. And, like, I don't feel like, you know, we deserve blame because our vibration wasn't in the right zone or whatever.
Well, I don't either. In fact, I'm ready to destroy the entire spiritual field based off of that.
Yes.
But
Amen to that shit.
Right.
Okay, let's do that. So how do we do that?
Can we drop an A-bomb on that shit right now? Just, like,
this is literally why I feel like it's got to stop being about I did something wrong because I didn't purify my vibration. It's got to start being about the accuracy.
But yeah, let's get into that though, because when you say accuracy, to me, I'm hearing accuracy of my thoughts and vibration, and I wasn't.
No. Accuracy.
If I'm attracting everything, then accurately, I'm attracting what I accurately thought or accurately believed.
You are accurately attracting what you believe. Yes. No, but I mean, the thing is that, I mean, until you get it, you don't get it. That's the problem, because this stuff is buried in the subconscious. I spent the last 3 years of my life not understanding what every single conflict in my life had to do with each other until literally this week.
Wow.
So what was the way? What did you gain this week?
Yeah, can we
Tell
know?
us about it.
Tell us.
Tell us the secret.
Should I just go in public? All right. So basically,
another ridiculous hour. Getting ridiculous on us, Teal.
Yeah.
My relationships follow a common pattern, and it's a pretty freaking horrific pattern. Every relationship I get into ends up this way. Now, my last relationship, you know, those of you who know Sarb, this is how this relationship ended up. Basically, I got slammed with being left by my husband at the same time as I got slammed by getting into a new relationship with literally the most incredible problems you could imagine happening during that. Slammed with my hate groups all joining together and going, I mean, like literally causing so much problem for me this year, it would blow your mind to know the kind of stuff they managed to do. On top of my marriage going south for this exact same pattern again. That was all in the last 3 years. Now, I was looking at this for the last 3 years, not understanding what the hell these things had in common. I was literally just like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm literally attracting so much conflict to my life. Unbelievable. And I was like, there's no way there's just no way that this can be an accurate reflection of me. I mean, look at where I am in terms of consciousness and everything. And what I basically woke up to is that I was at the core of my pattern in life, which is deflected shame. And it's all about my mother wound. Absolutely every single one of it. So what do they all have in common? We get into a situation where originally my mother, but whoever it is, they can't deal with their own self-concept, their self-concept of shame. I'm a bad person. I don't feel good about myself. Now what happens is I come along in my childhood that was literally just being, you know, me being Teal was not a good match with my mother. She couldn't handle the inadequacy she felt as a result of being around that as a kid. And the same pattern through all of my relationships. Because them perceiving me doing something like that. Basically, it triggers their feeling of shame. But what happens when that wound is triggered is they basically have no option to cope with it other than to deflect it. So to deflect the shame is essentially a projection process. It's, you know what, I'm not going to even go near this, so that's the bad person. Every one of my relationships has followed this pattern. You even look at my ex-husband right now. He's slandering me all over the internet and organizing my hate groups. Exact same thing. Now, basically, I had this huge awakening about the fact that deflected shame is actually the heart of all of our relationship issues on the planet. I mean, like everything. It's the heart of the human ego, in fact. The human ego needs to see itself as good. It must. So what it does is it projects badness somewhere so it can feel good in comparison. Now, I was telling myself this entire year, there is no way that I can be a match to the amount of hatred that I'm getting around this world. That is unbelievable. Nobody understands it. I mean, no one in this business. It's the kind of thing where, I mean, people who have been doing events for years, they're like, we don't need 3 security guards for anyone except Teal Swan. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is not fair. I'm like, what the hell am I saying that's so incredibly dramatically different? But like, I didn't see it until this minute. Because of the strength of this particular vibration, which is literally the core vibration of my life, honestly, on this planet. And thanks my mom and my relationship with her. Basically, this is haters. I didn't realize it until right now. Like, there is no exceptions. Every single person makes up these hate groups, which is thousands of people now at this point, just so you know. It's all people who have perceived that something I've said, something that I've done, or something that I've not said or done has triggered their shame. It's made them take it personally at some point. It's made them feel bad about themselves. No, they can't deal with the shame, can't own it, can't look at it, can't process through it. And so they have to deflect it. And it deflects back at what sent it. So it's almost like the way to imagine it is you've got a laser beam and the laser beam shoots out towards someone, right? And then the deflection process shoots it straight back towards the sender. It's just that I'm not even aware of what it is that I'm doing. And they're aware of it. So for example, this is a common theme. I don't answer an email. I get thousands of emails a day. I won't answer it. I will never see it. But the person on the other end, what are they going to tell themselves? They don't understand what it's like to be a celebrity. They have no idea. So basically, they're on the other side of it. They don't get an email from me and they go, oh my God, what is it about me that makes it so that I'm not worthy of notice? That triggers shame. If they don't want to look at that, if they can't go near that, they're going to be like, you know what? Fuck Teal. She's a fucking bitch. In fact, she's only here for money. Now, they're going to go at it from that angle. And the thing is that they want, that aspect of self that's trying to protect its own self-image and get away from that feeling of shame is going to find any kind of proof to validate it. So where do you go now if you want that kind of proof? You go to my haters, of which there are thousands and groups now for it. So you just settle in there and you just get fed full of all this information about how terrible I am. And so you feel good. I didn't understand my haters till today, nor did I understand why I'm a perfect match to this. And it's not about attracting. It's literally just mirror.
So what would you tell your hater? What advice would you give them if you knew they had to take it? You know my favorite game, Teal?
That the time has come on this planet to own your shame. This goes for me and every person on this planet. There comes a moment in an argument, literally, where you have to stop it, stop the argument. Anytime you're feeling defensive and realize, I'm feeling shame. What am I feeling shame about? So for example, I gave a lot of examples. I'm actually doing a Ask Teal episode about this. It's coming out soon. You got first peek. Basically, it's like the moment where you're in a relationship and the relationship is going shitty and you're feeling defensive and trying to blame the other person. You realize in the moment of that blame, there's actually shame here, but you don't want to admit it. Why? Because the worst thing you could do is admit to your shame and have them condemn you for it. It's the worst feeling on earth. It's that rubbing salt in the wound thing. But like if we were grown-ups, and especially in committed relationships with people who were committed to safety or connection, basically, we would stop the conversation in that moment and make it about our individual shame. So instead of it being about, you're just too fucking needy, it should be about, I'm ashamed that I am just like not emotionally available. Because the reality that we all have is that we've got that. I mean, we all have tons of shame. It's just we don't admit it.
I feel that. Yeah, I can see that in my arguments with my family a lot.
I'm gonna have to relook at that word because I don't feel like I have a lot of shame, but that's probably just a blind spot. I mean, I feel.
I promise you, it's a blind spot. I promise you.
Is it the ego?
Huh?
Ego block
holding
shame.
on. I mean,
Yeah.
It's the ego.
I don't know. I let myself get away with so much stuff that I don't. I don't know. I have to look at that word again, so I will.
What's the word?
Shame.
Okay.
Like it just doesn't. I don't feel like I have shame. I mean, I have a lot of other bad crap, but shame doesn't feel like one of them. But that's probably because it's the biggest for me. I don't know.
Shame,
That's
blame.
how that usually works. Like, that's not my stuff. Yeah, if you say that's not my stuff, it's probably big time your stuff.
Oh, it's 100% big time your stuff. But like the word shame in and of itself doesn't, it's like as a word, I actually can't stand the word because it doesn't measure up to the gravity of the vibration I'm talking about. I'm talking about a self-image of something's horribly wrong with me. I am bad. I am wrong. And worthy of basically being kicked out of society, but desperate not to have it happen. Like it's like shame is not a good enough word for that. But that's what it means.
Can you speak to, if you toggle up and down, you can see who's in, by the way. Can you speak to secrets coming out? Like I've heard a lot of people talk about it. It seems to me like I call it the book of secrets. Like everyone's shit is coming to the surface.
Yeah. Everyone's.
So there eventually we're moving towards a place where there will be no shame because all the secrets are going to be out,
Exactly. That's the point of what we're doing right here. But it's like when we're going through this much of a dramatic shift, it's sort of like you're getting upgraded so damn fast that nobody can keep up with it. But that upgrade, quite frankly, what that looks like is all that crap that you weren't ready to face. Sorry, we have no more time. Like you're facing it. That's basically how it works. And so most of us are like drowning in it. And so it's like you get hit by one wave and you're like, oh my God, total awareness. That was painful. Back into it. And it's just over and over and over again until you're sort of like, I'm done. I am so done right now. So yeah, this is where most people have been And I dare say where a lot of people are going to be for a while, because this shift is like, it's not slowing down.
Right.
So do you think it would be beneficial to humanity or even our smaller community, even like, Teal Tribe or even the Houston community to like, I had an idea of like what's called Book of Secrets, and it's like on a certain day. And on that day, like everyone just posts their shit, and there's so much shit out there. Like you wouldn't even be able to look at everybody's shit if you had the time. You wouldn't be able to look. So there'd be so much secrets coming out, and like you can't really judge anyone else's when like yours is right there too, and it's just as bad. Like we all have it, like wouldn't it be beneficial and healing to all of us to just let it all go and say, look, I have herpes, like I don't. I mean, like whatever it is, like. I actually thought I had a venereal disease in the fall, and I was freaking out. But it's just a yeast infection. It's okay, everyone. It's just a yeast infection. I've got it under control. It turns out beer is bad for yeast infection. But but my point is, like, wouldn't it be good to just like let it out? Like let out all your stuff. It just feels like as a group we could do that, and it would be healing. Because even if no one even read your stuff, it would be so cathartic to put it out there. What do you think?
I think in theory it would be a super freeing thing if everyone could do it, but I don't trust the human ego right now enough to say that that would be a good idea.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put out a few of my minor things and see what else of major shit everyone else got out there.
I mean, if you're super brave with this, yes, but like what we're talking about is collective vulnerability. And if people go out in a state of collective vulnerability, and there are 5 people even that are like, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to poppycock, or I'm going to store this to basically use against you later, we're in danger. So I feel like it needs to be a more delicate process for some people. I mean, if you're ready for that, yes, but as a spiritual teacher, just talking to you frankly about you, I feel like the very last thing on earth you need is cruelty. I feel like you've become acclimatized as a person to like, I mean, you said, I don't feel like shame is my issue. I feel like it's absolutely your issue. You're used to being the bad guy, and it's almost like you become okay with being the bad guy. But there's an aspect of you that isn't okay with being a bad guy. And so the last thing on earth I would ever want is for you to open up and be like, these are my issues, and have somebody use that against you. And because I feel like if we did parts work with you, like there's this little, like all these different, this multiplicity of selves, you've got a very strong self that's like, fuck what people think about me. And another much weaker self that's just like, I just need somebody to see that like all my intentions are good and all this stuff. And so I feel like one aspect of you sort of drags the other aspect of you into this stuff that it doesn't want to be a part of. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not my business. Like if people want to think that I'm some money hungry, like cutthroat, whatever the hell shit they make up about me, that's literally like, I do feel like I get that that's shit they made up about me. Like that's not me. Like that opinion of me is not me. And my true friends know that. And do I need everyone to know that? I really don't. Like, would I love it? Yes. I would love for everyone to love me. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say that. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's dangerous to get too involved in what other people's opinions of you are and beat yourself up over what someone's perception of you is. I mean, it just drags you down. I mean, I don't even judge them. Like today I made a good friend. He may even be on tonight. I won't mention his name because he deleted his comment. I don't know if he wants to be outed, but like he was dogging on the last show and I just started chatting with him. We're like buddies now. Like I never, like that feedback he was giving me, which was basically that I was poking fun at serious spiritual subjects. I mean, imagine that. Ridiculous to even think about that. And I really enjoyed his feedback. Like I was like, yeah, that is something I do. But that's kind of the premise of this show. So like, if I'm doing it in real life and I need to change it, that's one thing. But the premise of this show is to keep lighthearted with some really deep and dark stuff, and keep it light where people can hear it without, getting all depressed and shit.
Freaking out. Crying.
Freaking out and stuff.
Spontaneous.
I like what you
Spontaneous.
I am reading your mind right now, Teal, and I agree. I am full of shit most of the time. That's what she was telling me. It's okay.
It's not full of shit. This is another thing that I want to see changing this year. in people in general, is I want people to stop looking at themselves as if they are a singularity and start looking at themselves as if they're a multiplicity. And if you're a multiplicity, most of what you know about yourself is one personality that's polarized, which, trust me, there's a personality basically within you that's completely to the opposite side of that. So somewhere in you is a marshmallow that does give a shit about what people think.
Oh, huge. I mean, I feed off of people's opinion of me.
Oh, I know.
But I've also learned if I'm completely authentic, it will make more people like me. Like the whole trying to be cool and trying to be like, I tried that, trying to be cool in high school. It didn't work. Like I was a nerd. Like people saw right through me. But I think the way I finally got more and more people to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
All you did is develop a brand new strategy for getting people to like you, and that's authenticity. So the reality is that you didn't shut up this tiny personality within you. You just gave it a different strategy. And the thing is, like, I'm done allowing people to be in a war between selves. And I'm really done watching people bulldoze it. And this is what I'm watching. I'm literally watching like cruelty within the self, between these fragments of self. I'm literally watching, the adult Joseph Zenner be like, I don't really give a shit what these people think about me, and it's not my business. And behind that literally is this little voice that's like, I'm scared and terrified. If people don't like me, if they don't think good things about me, I'm in danger. And so it's like I want to create a kind of fusion between these two where both needs are met, where we're not making one bad or wrong or immature, and the other one's not making the other one like the asshole dad that drags him into crap he's not ready for. I'd rather there be like a harmony between these aspects of self. But we can't do that if we're unaware of it.
So I don't know where to take that, because like all I could do when I found myself trying to please people and be a people pleaser in whatever ways, and then I found escape from that with just being authentic, and like someone asks me simple requests sometimes, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. No, they're like, well, what do you mean? You can't do me a favor? Like, no, I don't want to do that. And if they get their feelings hurt from that, I do see like at a certain level that's not my shit. Like all I did was say no to a yes or no question. So I don't know where to go with this. I guess I'll have to watch this interview again. That's how I always get it on the third time when I watch interviews I do with you. Third time I get it, Teal.
Play a game with me for 3 seconds, okay?
Yeah, let's play it.
The game you're going to play with me is you're going to close your eyes right now. Right? Do you feel the Joseph Zenner that doesn't care what people think about you, that's just authentic and it's not your fault how people react to what you say? Do you feel that aspect of you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what the body of this person feels like when you're this. Is it hard? Is it soft?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's shielded. Like you get the forearm if you come too close.
Is it male?
Sure.
Human?
Human?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a name that would fit this aspect of you best, or is Joseph just it?
Shane.
Okay, see, so there you go. So this is a personality. This is what I'm talking about. This is a fragment of you. So now, ready, I want you to look behind that personality. Who is this personality? Who is the opposite personality for this one? The one that it's compensating for. Can you turn around and see that personality?
Yes.
Okay, so can you let that personality come take over your body? Almost like, so Shane, this one is stepping out of the way, and this one that is hiding is coming into your body. Now what does your body feel like? And who are you?
Vulnerable. I'm just being authentic here. Sissified is the word that's popping into my mind. Like
that's the judgment. See, you just actually flipped back. So that was scary enough that you flipped back into Shane, thinking about that part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was labeling.
That's how resistant you are to being in this particular personality. You are this resistant to vulnerability. That like anytime you feel vulnerable, the vulnerability is a trigger for you to go into shame. You see? So sitting in this, close your, I want you to be more familiar with this part of you. Sitting in this vulnerability, right? Tell me about this aspect of you. Are you male? How old are you?
Yeah, like 9 or 10.
Okay, so you're 9 or 10. What does your body feel like? Are you small or large or thin or any sensation?
Small and awkward.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about people?
It's not fair.
What's not fair?
Like, I could do the right things and play the game of middle school, and it doesn't make me popular.
Okay, so you really want, that's perfect. So how do you feel about Shane?
I feel he could protect me.
So you like him?
Yeah, hell yeah.
How does Shane feel about you?
He's a bitch, a gimp.
So how do you really feel about Shane?
Now that I know what Shane feels about me,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me as that second, not
Mm-hmm.
okay. I can't muster any bad feelings about Shane. There's too much security coming from him.
Okay, so to me that's very dangerous. I'll just tell you this. I want you to let this little boy listen to me for a minute. To me, there's a big problem with someone being that horribly judgmental, even abusive, because that's emotionally abusive to look at you and say you're a sissy and a wimp and everything. It's a problem for me if you find that person safe. Because they may be safe physically and all that, but emotionally, you're not safe from a person who sees you in that way, nor are they seeing you accurately. And that's really what's not fair.
I don't know if that second person is me, though. You say Shane is seeing me in that way and calling me sissified. I don't feel like that's me. I feel like that might have been me at 9 years old.
Oh, it's still in you. So it's still you. This is how disconnected you are from this aspect of you. Now, can I tell you something? You can, I mean, now that you felt this aspect, this is an aspect inside you, okay? The one that's diametrically opposed to the Shane personality. This relationship that you have between these two parts within you is not a healthy one. Now, here's what I'm going to say. You ready? You're going to say it's not fair. But really, when we talk about accuracy in terms of the universe mirroring, you're a perfect match to this relationship you have between these two parts within you playing out externally. So a lot of people that you're going to attract into your life, they're going to basically be in this, they're going to play the vulnerable one. And you're going to be the bad guy. People are going to come up against you and feel like you're the real brutal one, the one who's like judgmental, the one who's not being fair, the one who's rough, and that's going to be their attitude towards you. Because the one you suppressed is the one that's going to be mirrored in other people. So it'll seem, and I'll explain what this mirroring will feel like to you. It would feel like you are in a world full of broken glass, where it doesn't matter where you fucking step. Like you're gonna take one step and people are gonna freak out. The next step, you're gonna freak out. So suddenly you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm like a bull in a china shop, except for I don't feel like I'm being a bull. This is just not fair. So that's how that's gonna mirror for you. You can come back into the room if you want to.
Good job.
As long as it's all about me. No, so here's the thing. I feel like, I hope this is helping everyone. I mean, I think everyone can kind of relate to something like this in their life, I hope. But I feel like I evolved from that little dude that was so worried about what people think about him. Like he was stressed out over whether Peter Graham thought he was cool or not. Like, I don't want to be that kid. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry to break it to you. You are that kid. And you did not grow up from that. And you did what everyone else does, which is to cope and compensate by creating an opposing personality that just covered it over. That's all that happened. There is no evolution from that.
Okay. I'm listening.
This is a mechanism. This is why people fragment into different parts. So literally, like, the biggest part of your awakening is to realize that that aspect of you didn't evolve at all. In fact, you brutalized it. You suppressed it, you denied it, you disowned it, is what you did. You didn't basically reparent it. And you're still in that abusive relationship today.
I guess I'm feeling like when I think about it, like I said, I'm gonna listen to the show again and go different directions with it. But when I think about it right now, I feel like it was an evolutionary step for me to become authentic and not be so, because I still care what people think. I admit that freely all the time, not just on this show. Like, I admit it freely. I do care what people think. And I can't control what they think. So if they think I'm some whatever, like, I mean, I lose 10 Facebook friends a week sometimes because I'm my insane post. I love that. I really do. Like, that's like my filter. Like, you don't like this aspect of me who I've become, then no, I really do love that too. I swear. I celebrate it.
You don't.
I
This
do.
is what-
I wouldn't love it if Facebook didn't have a max of 5,000 friends. Then I want all the friends in the world. But because I have to turn down other people, when someone wants to jump off my friends list to let other people that are going to be more open-minded in, I love it. I really do.
Can I be honest about something?
Please.
This is what I hate about my job. What I hate about my job is that when there's an aspect of somebody's embodiment that is hidden from their conscious view because of the danger of letting it into their conscious view, it is going to be a fight and I'm not going to get anywhere. What's painful, this is totally authenticity, ridiculous hour moment. What's painful about my relationship with you is you make statements like that and I can hear the voice of the aspects of you underneath that. When you say, I really love it when people are unfriendly, I can basically hear the aspect of you that is suppressed, that is not grown into something more evolved. The part that's suppressed, that's saying, I don't love it, I don't understand why everyone's having these reactions to me. So it's painful to be in my position watching the war, basically. And feeling like I would rather be an advocate to the aspect of you who is basically in pain in this moment than the one that's figured out a perfect coping mechanism to deal with 10 people unfriending you in a week. Can you just consider it? I'm not even like, I just want you to consider it.
Yeah, I will. Oh. Anna, do you have a question?
Deflection or no? No.
No, I'm
Are
just,
you good?
we're almost
Like-
out of time, and I feel like we spent a lot of time on me, and I'm going to get a lot out of this by watching it again, but I just want to see if you have any other direction to go with this.
Can I speak to this?
I'm sorry?
I need to speak to this. That little worry that you had just now, I need to speak to it. Because the reality is that this right here is the stuff that people need to be getting right now. Not whether the 11th dimension exists or how to get into the 5D or what's going to happen in the world in the upcoming. That's bullshit compared to this work. This literally is what people need to be doing. This. Let's address the shame. Let's address what's really mirroring here. Let's address the aspect of ourselves that are at war with each other. This is what people have to be doing. So what we just did here is about 100 times more valuable in terms of what really creates lasting change within a person's life than what we could be talking about.
What about the blue avians? Just kidding. So talk to me then. So where do I go with this? Because and here's a good question for you. I've worked a lot on trying to get rid of the belief in wrong, right? So I don't feel like it's wrong that I don't have these issues that I used to have about the need to be liked. I mean, it may be subconscious buried shit, but like to a large degree, how I live my life, I'm not living my life consumed with what other people think about me, which I did in high school.
Oh,
And I outgrew college a little bit.
you're being very mental about this process, meaning you're basically trying to skip a step. You're going into whether it's right or wrong or good or bad to be completely authentic. Whether it's good or bad or right or wrong to worry about it, whether the people think. It's not about that. I literally want you to drop it. Like, drop what you should and shouldn't do. Drop what's right or wrong. Drop what's good or bad. And literally, you're just looking inside for the fact that all people walking the planet in the state of adulthood are a multiplicity of selves. And what you are familiar with in terms of your Joseph Zenner personality, we could call that a base personality. It's a compensation. And so anytime there's a compensation, a swinging of a pendulum, by virtue of the way the universe works, there's an opposing polarity. So that opposing polarity, let's say you've got I'm super strong and super successful. Chances are there's the opposing personality that's right underneath that. And like a graduated consciousness is about inclusive consciousness. It's about, you know what, I'm excited and terrified. It's not about, you know what, I moved beyond the terror and now I'm just excited. So I'm literally stretching people to become conscious. Consciousness is not polarized.
So I want you to address something for me, because, you know, a lot of people talk about being empaths, and I pride myself in not being an empath, and I get it. It's just a joke.
No.
To some degree, it's a joke.
Right.
But like 9-year-old Joseph got his little feelings hurt all the time. It hurt. It sucked. So like, that wasn't condescending. I was being real. Like, it sucked to be 9-year-old Joseph and have your feelings hurt all the time. I'm not making fun of the kid right now.
When you watch this video again, I hope you vomit. If you talked about your daughter the way you just talked about that aspect of yourself, you would puke. That was awful.
But I think you're missing my intention here. I really do.
I don't care whether I'm missing your intention. That was brutally, emotionally abusive, and this is what I watch you do.
My 9-year-old got hurt? He did. That happened. Yeah. It's real. He got hurt. He's got his feelings hurt all the time. That's all I said.
But it's happened. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, watch this again. You're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised at what you said. Oh, yeah, you will.
I mean, I know what I lived. And I know that teaching myself certain techniques got me out of being so hurt all the time for no freaking reason other than somebody else did something that was dumb and I took it a way that I shouldn't have. Like, I was overanalyzing things. I was consumed with who liked me. Like, it wasn't a healthy place to be for me.
Judgmental as fuck.
I mean, I've lived in both perspectives. I don't want to go back to that. Like, it was horrible.
You do feel that? I don't want to go back to that. I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it. There is no resolution you made with that. All you did was suppress it, deny it, disown it, and reject it.
I created a new personality that didn't have that aspect.
Exactly, but it didn't go away. It went to war with that aspect of you and has been abusing it for years. And that's what, when you play this video back, you're about to see it. And then, like, the reality that you gotta own up to is that this aspect of you is still in you. It didn't go anywhere. So you're literally in a relationship with it. That's what you gotta get. You are in a relationship with this aspect of you. And so when you just said that thing you said, it's like you're saying that to your 9-year-old self.
See, I like the sound of that. Like, I wish I could go back to my 9-year-old self and toughen him up. That's true. Like, I know you're not gonna like the way that sounds, but like, I wish I could do that, because high school sucked because he was too sensitive, and he was too, like, he was convinced that other people could harm him and change what really mattered, and none of that was real. And I later in life I saw that wasn't real. It was a bunch of middle school and high school drama and a bunch of little catty bullshit that I had bought into, and I unbought into that. You see what I'm saying?
This is incredible emotional abuse, what I'm watching right here. This is invalidation. This is minimization. This is shaming. And you're saying this about yourself at 9 years old, the inner child that still exists within you. God forbid if you ever treated your own daughter this way.
I mean, I try to teach my daughter that other people shouldn't be able to affect her emotions. She should be able to, you know, be in control of her emotional state and see that when other people mess with her, she can control her reaction to it, and she can, you know, overreact or underreact, but it's her reaction. It's not what they did. It's her perception of what they did.
If we venture in the direction of your relationship with your daughter, this is going to go incredibly south. That is going to build a rift between you and your daughter like you cannot believe. It's going to do the exact opposite thing that you think it's going to do. And all that's going to happen is when anybody does affect the way that she feels, she has to feel ashamed for it. She has to suppress it. She has to deny it. And first of all, she has to hide it from you.
Well, so her mom, when her mom would come to me on the weekends, when she would come to me on the weekends, her mom would call her crying, would send her texts nonstop. She had a cell phone at 6 years old. She would send her texts nonstop. I can't be without you this long. It was fake tears. It was all fake. But she had convinced Emily that her emotional state was based on Emily being there with her. So when Emily was with me for the weekend, she was always anxious. She was always having to call her mom every 2 hours. Like, it was a big ordeal because she was feeling responsible for her mother's happiness. And I had to unteach that. And it worked. And Emily is very, she's not the most, she's not maybe sensitive as some other kids and all that. And I'm not like saying, ha ha, rah rah for me for that. I didn't try to take away her sensitivity, but she deals with her mom professionally, like awesome. And it's because I think she truly gets that we are all responsible for our own happiness, and she's not responsible for mom's happiness. So there was that was the training I had to do with her, to get her to that point.
This is gonna go south. Oh God. Where do you want to go with this? Because this is really south. This could be like hours.
You're almost out of time, but I'm willing to go there if you, we have like 7 minutes left.
You can't train her in the way that you trained her without making her emotions wrong, making her emotions her fault. What you saw, basically, that you think worked is a split that was created. It's a perfect mirror of what you're experiencing right now with yourself, and what you're going to watch this back and see, basically, is that you created a split between the aspect of you that couldn't cope and an aspect that coped for it, despite it, for example. But that's exactly what you do when you do that. There's ways that you can completely validate, completely understand, completely recognize somebody, and then help them come up with strategies without making the emotion wrong, without making the sensitivity wrong, without those really harsh judgments, without telling them they're completely responsible for how they feel, as if it's possible to not be affected by this world. If you create a person who cannot be affected by this world, you fuck this world. That's what you do.
I don't know if I'd do it any differently, though, because I saw the torture she was going through with what her mom was doing to her. Her mom had her convinced that she was causing her mom's torturous pain. She was the torturer and her mom was the tortured, all because of a court order that she had to spend 3 days with her dad. Like, I had to unteach that. she was being abused.
I'm not saying that you had to unteach that. I'm saying that there's ways to teach that she's not responsible for that without making her feelings in that circumstance wrong, without making her feel like having those feelings makes her weak, without, you know, basically holding her up to a standard where she's not affected by anything. And if she is, there's something wrong. She's done something wrong.
I don't know that I taught to that level. Like, I wanted her to understand that she was responsible for her own happiness and her mom was responsible for her own happiness. That was, I mean, I wasn't trying to like take away emotional response. You know what I mean? Like, I validated her emotions when she would get sad. I didn't like invalidate it.
Okay, but can I
I let her see the game her mom was playing with her, which was.
But I would like to have watched you, because when somebody's in pain and you come up to them and say, you know what, you're responsible for your own happiness, it is possibly the most isolating experience you can have, and it's not a healthy isolation.
That wasn't where I was going with that though. It was, your mom's responsible for her own happiness. You can't be responsible for her crying right now. You're not doing that to her. You're here with me right now because the judge said that this was my time, and your mom is going through what she's going through, but you're not responsible for your mom's tears right now, is the message I would get across to her.
I know, but just 10 seconds ago, you said I was teaching her that you're responsible for your own happiness, and she's responsible for her.
I mean, but the lesson is be responsible. You are responsible for your own happiness, but the way I was teaching it was you're not responsible for your mother's happiness.
What if we're responsible to each other's happiness? Did that ever occur to you?
I mean, who's we? 'Cause if it's me and her mom, then fuck that. You know what I mean? Like,
in the world in general, I'm saying like, okay, so ego is about separation, right? So you can say that the tool of we are responsible for our own happiness, for some people can be really empowering, right? But what if the ego can take that same tool and use it to strengthen itself? And this is what I'm watching in the spiritual community. I'm basically watching people take these principles that could do good in some sort of situations and use them for an entirely different situation where they're doing damage. It's almost like using a screwdriver for what you need a hammer for, or a hammer for what you need a screwdriver for. What if what we really need as a collective society is to take responsibility for each other's happiness for once? My God, like, why do you think that there are still people that are starving in the world today? People are still fucking starving in the world today because we're too fucking self-centered to take responsibility for each other's happiness. Because as a society, we take our own, we want to buy a Ferrari instead of get people off the street. So this is one of the things that you can't explain this to extraterrestrials, for example. You can't explain this to angelic beings. You can't explain why the priorities are so messed up here. So yes, you're right that like seeing that your happiness is not completely at the mercy of other people is healthy, but it is profoundly dysfunctional to live in a state of independent happiness bubble. And that is what so much of the spiritual field is creating here. Like, the reality is if the world took responsibility for each other's happiness, you wouldn't even have to have that conversation with your daughter. And that's the kind of world I want to create.
But don't we live in a world that's such that if we all start taking responsibility for others' feelings, like, the world's pretty screwed. It's just going to put everyone into a deep, dark depression because you can't fix everyone. You can't give all the homeless people homes. Like, it's just going to sink us. Like, I don't.
It hasn't sunk me.
Hasn't it? I mean, it's been kicking your ass, though. The people that are empaths have been having their ass kicked.
Yeah, we've been having our ass kicked, but it's not killing me. It's not my mercy for other people or my love of other people or my care for other people or suffering that kicks my ass. In fact, I never feel more happy than when I'm on stage across from somebody who's in a state of pain. That's the moment that actually I flourish, because I feel like I actually have something that I can do there. Our issue is that we take the collective of suffering. If you take responsibility for making the world in general perfect, all of the world, meaning I'm responsible for every single dog that's stray, I'm responsible for every animal that gets slaughtered. I'm responsible for everybody who gets left by their husbands. Yeah, you're gonna fucking implode.
Yeah,
But-
that's my sister, and it sucks.
But this is the thing. It's about, I wake up in the morning and I take a vow. My vow is to reduce suffering. My vow is, if I can add to the collective well-being of the planet, I add to the well-being of the planet. If I can add to my own well-being, I consider myself a piece of the pie of suffering, and I've increased the overall vibration of this planet. I've decreased suffering on this planet. It's literally that simple, and it has to be that simple. But if we start doing this thing, this ego bubble, basically, where we're like, I gotta be separate. I'm responsible for my happiness. Let the fucking dog be responsible for its happiness. There's a reason it came down here. Let the cow be responsible for its happiness. It must have chosen into the slaughterhouse for its own good. We're in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
I like it.
And this is the reality. This is the reality. Either you're responsible for your happiness and your happiness only, or oneness is reality. You get to choose between them, quite literally.
Service to self.
I mean,
One or the other.
well, they're saying service to self versus service to the others here. I mean, isn't the key balance to those? I mean, like, I guess
Not right now.
what I'm focused on is, can I be compassionate to those around me, but not responsible for their feelings? And if I say something that they get offended by, 10 years ago, I would have been so wrapped up if I said something that someone got offended by. But now I get that I say way too many things that are offensive to take it personally every time someone gets offended. And I'm not going to stop saying things that are offensive, because the things I say need to be said. It's offensive that this country has a pedophile ring problem. It's offensive that we elected a moron as a president. Like, there's a lot of things that are offensive right now that need to be said. And I'm not going to shut up just because I think I might hurt someone's feelings.
Nobody says you should.
I'm not hurting their feelings. They are.
No, if you take a stance of care for other people, then it puts you in an interesting position. That position is, at this moment, out of care for you, I can see how saying this thing is good for you, even though it will cause pain. But you can adjust the way you say it so that it's received in a way that doesn't torment people. Do you see?
I mean, I already try to do that. I don't try to be offensive. I mean, I cover offensive topics and such, but I don't try to be offensive on purpose. I mean, unless I'm teasing or kidding around, like, and, you know. And to be honest, in my real life, like, I don't offend that many people. The people that get offended are people I've never been on Facebook that don't know me from dick. So, like, it's hard for me to get worked up about, oh no, somebody I only met on Facebook got offended by something I said. Like, that's not me being sensitive. It's just not, like, they don't know me and they're misinterpreting what I'm saying or being offended, and that's their triggers they installed and they pulled. Like, that ain't my shit.
I'm not saying that it should be, but I'm saying that you should at least care for the pain that it triggers. Even if it's about someone else.
I guess to some degree. I mean, I care, but I don't allow myself to be upset by it. I mean, it's not that I completely don't care. It makes a difference to me. Like the guy that was complaining about the last show, I addressed it. I said, hey, dude, I agree. You know, like, you're right. Like, that's what you said is pretty accurate. And we started chatting and we got along great. But
and then you came on this show and you vehemently defended how dumb he was, because obviously this is the ridiculous hour.
I did not say he was dumb at all.
Well, that was definitely the implication. Trust me, when you rewatch this, you're going to see.
Well, if that is the implication, and he's watching this, he and I agree we both have the same stuff. So, like, we both poke fun at, you know, so it was a mirror there. Like, we both, I think the only difference is he doesn't like the fact that he pokes fun at spiritual stuff, and I do. I think that was the only distinction.
Alan said you like to see the reaction.
I'm keeping it. Yeah, Ellen's right. I do like to see the reactions. I mean, I like stirring the pot and getting people fired up. Why? Because it makes them think. It makes them think about things they hadn't thought about. It makes them explore parts of themselves they hadn't seen. Like, yeah, I'm a pot stirrer. I'm a shit stirrer. Like, I get
Just
that.
be mindful not to compound trauma. 'Cause that may be what you could.
I can't compound trauma in someone else, though, is my belief.
Oh, yes, you can.
Maybe my daughter, but like, if you're a Facebook friend that we've never met and I'm causing you trauma, that's your shit. That's not my shit. You know, see what I'm saying? Like, if we're teaching a society to be so freaking sensitive that and this is what we've done, that they can't even handle reading Facebook posts without getting triggered and offended and worked up, then where have we gotten? We're not evolving.
Actually, if you train a society to be as sensitive as they normally would be when they're born, you would never get to that condition in a person. They would never be so broken as to be in that state, number one. Number two, they would never create the trauma that's going on this planet today. It is sensitivity that is going to bring this planet to a state where it's healthy enough for fucking people to be born into and live into. It's people who are like, we got to make people not sensitive that are creating this.
I guess we could disagree on that. We're not hearing everything. I mean, because I see what happens in these spiritual groups. I see how they allow they literally, I've seen people be derailed for 48 hours or more because of a comment from a stranger. Like if you're saying that's a healthy state, like I just can't get behind that. Like that's not healthy.
You're not getting it.
That's not evolved. That's not any of these things.
Joseph, Jesus Christ. It is people who are like you, frankly, who just don't really give a shit, who bulldoze the fuck out of everybody and don't care what the implication is because it's your fault versus mine, that create the kind of wounds that make people like that. That's what makes it. It's the teacher who says, stop fucking crying, don't be a sissy. That's why they end up like that.
I don't say that.
But you have done it several times on this video alone. My God.
I can't get behind the fact that more sensitivity is going to help us with what I'm seeing right now. It just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't, like, when maybe we have a distinction what we're thinking the word sensitivity means, because it's good to be sensitive. It's good to be, you know, it's good to feel things, but to be so sensitive that you can't handle a stranger's comments without derailing yourself for weeks that's not productive for anybody.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
I didn't say it was wrong. It's just not productive. If you don't want to be productive, that's fine. Like, productive isn't right. You know, non-productive isn't wrong. I'm just saying it's not helping anyone to be that sensitive and to not control your own emotions means anyone could put a gun to your head and pull the trigger at any time. Anyone. What kind of planet is that? I don't want to live on a planet like that.
Is the kind of person who can draw that gun in the first place. So you literally
I can't try to solve the whole problem. I can't try to tell everyone else on the planet, don't point guns.
You are creating the very problem you hate. Literally.
Well, I'm not taking that one. I'm not admitting that. Maybe when I watch the video for the fourth time, I'll text you and I'll be like, you were right. But right now, it doesn't feel like I'm responsible for all these people being too sensitive. They're responsible for being too sensitive, and I'm not making it wrong. I'm just saying, why did I say two? But they're sensitive, and if they like the results of them being that sensitive, then they should keep it. But to blame me for that, Teal, come on. I mean, it's just not fair.
You sound exactly like a dad who beats the shit out of his son and then says, you know what, it's good for him because he's too much of a fucking sissy. That's literally what you sound like right now.
I didn't beat the shit out of anybody. That's the whole point. They're being sensitive from a Facebook comment. And it's usually not even me. I'm not even that offensive on Facebook. I mean, we're having this whole conversation. I don't even offend that many people. But there are people that have been kicked out of Teal Tribe. A lot of them I'm good friends with. I became friends after one of them. I had to kick them out myself, and then I became good friends with them. But they're real. They're authentic. They're speaking their truth. They really are. And maybe they're really weird and really naughty or really narcissistic or really whatever, but they are coming from authenticity and they're pushing other people's buttons, but they didn't install those buttons and they didn't.
So let's play a game. Can I play a game? Let's play a game. I didn't install the button in you of insecurity. Well, let's pretend that I look at you and say, look, Joseph, you're a fucking asshole. That's authenticity. Why are you censoring me? It's fucking authentic. Am I safe to you emotionally? No.
Well, wait a second. Let me answer the question. I think that I feel very safe with that because that you're being real with me. Like you're actually expressing how you feel about me, and that makes me feel safe. Like I love it when people come to me and say you're being an asshole right now. I can handle that, and I love it.
One aspect of you can handle that. This is why I want you to be aware of the split. In other words, I'm not just talking to Shane right now, and I'm not just talking to Joseph Zenner right now. I'm also talking to that 9-year-old right now, and me understanding oneness, feeling into you. The last thing on earth I want to do is say that to you. I want to have compassion. So instead of saying, Joseph, you're a fucking asshole, I'm going to be like, Jesus Christ. I see the reality of Joseph. I see the fact that the pain in his life is that he was so sensitive that people broke his sensitivity, and he had to break his own sensitivity because he couldn't cope with this fucking world without becoming so hard. I see that, and I see that pain. So the last thing that I want to do is to come in and say it that way. I'd rather, instead of say, Joseph, you're a fucking asshole, I would rather be like, you know what, Joseph? You're being really cruel right now to the aspect of you that really needs you to be a lot more compassionate.
But Teal, I have compassion. The reason I get so frustrated with people being derailed by a Facebook comment and a stranger is because I feel for them. Like I don't want, a lot of them are friends of mine. I don't want them to be hurt for 5 days off a stranger's comment. Like the last major girl I dated, she would get so derailed off Facebook bullshit from people she didn't know. And it's like, I cared about her too much to want her to be experiencing that. And I wanted to teach her a way to see that I can control my reactions. You know, like I can control how much I let someone else affect me if I take ownership of my feelings. And I even tell people, like, picture a big check and put, you know, power over my emotions. And then do you want to sign that check over to someone else? Do you want to sign it over to a friend, a Facebook friend, or a stranger on Facebook? I would sign that check over to my daughter any day of the week. If my daughter's sad, I'll be sad with her. But if I'm giving that power over my emotions to some stranger when I'm reading a comment on a Facebook thread, that's not empowering to anyone, and it's hurting the people that are doing that to themselves. So I say what I say because I want them to see that it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't. I used to be like that, and I grew up. I'm not like that anymore. And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else. When I grew up was probably offensive. I became more interested in my reactions to things than the things, and that helped me. And now I don't get my little feelings hurt as much. Why do you not like it when I say my little feelings?
This is so fucking horrible. It is minimizing. It is condescending. It is terrible. My God, if I came to you and I was like really genuinely crying because I'm really genuinely hurt, which by the way, these triggers are genuine injuries, and you said that to me, I mean, like literally, it's just so bad.
Well, I can tell you, I've helped a lot of people be less sensitive, and they're happier now because of it. So, you know, wherever it lands, that's real. Like they were being hurt all the time, even my ex. Now she's not.
I'm probably gonna have to undo that in a few years, and that's what scares me.
But do you want people to be that sensitive? Like,
yes.
You think that's the evolved state for everyone sitting around waiting for some asshole to come in a room and then all 20 of them get pissed off because of some one asshole?
No. You're talking about a trigger. There's a difference between a trigger and sensitivity. And if you're not sensitive, you can't even feel the fucking trigger. And if you can't even feel the trigger, you can't even get back to the aspect of you that is injured. There is no hope for integration. None. You know what that means? You're coming back in the next life. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one, till you integrate fully. So you're basically condemning them.
I disagree.
Well, that's not helpful. When you say I disagree, I agree to disagree. That's like I'm walling myself off. Congratulations. You've just created another fracture within consciousness.
I've been on both sides, and I don't want that side. I don't. It's just not. It's you say follow your joy, follow your fun, like, you know, follow excitement or whatever, and no thanks. Like that's miserable to me. Like I don't want to be that ever. It's gross. And I don't know why anyone would want to be that way. Why would anyone allow some stranger on a Facebook thread to derail them for a week? Why would they want that?
You have a different connotation.
I'm not understanding. I'm missing something major from this conversation.
I would say maybe because that way you can look at your trigger, and then
They don't though. They just blame the asshole.
But that's somebody else.
If they were actually going internal, that would that would resolve itself, and that would be helpful.
Teach them how to do it.
And that would take 10 minutes, maybe. But to be derailed for a week because of some asshole, like you're giving that asshole your power. He doesn't deserve it.
You have a crossroads. When someone is derailed by a Facebook comment, you have a crossroads. Either you teach them not to feel it, which is genuine Novocaine, and that's not follow your joy. That's Novocaine.
No, how would I teach it all?
Well, you just basically said it is. I teach people not to feel affected, is what you're saying to me.
No, I didn't say that. What I teach people is to look at your reaction to it. Focus on my reaction, my trigger. Why did that trigger me? You can't stop the trigger. You're going to get triggered. Why did that trigger me? What was it inside of me? When was the first time I felt that? Why, you know, I'm not saying don't do all that, but if you do all that properly, you're not going to be derailed for a week and depressed and making videos about how life sucks because some asshole made a comment 4 days ago. You see what I'm saying?
I never disagreed with that, but like when you watch this back, you're going to see that that is not how you put it. It's literally like, I'm just going to teach them how to not feel, because it's fucking stupid to cease to be hurt by something in the first place.
No, to take ownership of your feelings is not the same as not feeling. It's owning your feelings. I feel sad right now. I'm sad. I feel triggered right now. I'm triggered. That's owning them. But that also means you can change them. You can say, I've been feeling triggered for 2 hours off a stranger's comments on a Facebook thread. I'm going to choose to get over it. I'm going to choose
no.
to be upset by some guy I don't even know that made a comment that triggered something inside me that he didn't know I had a trigger for. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what triggers you have. I don't know when you set them up, and I can't pull them. All I can do is say something, and you pull your own trigger that you set up.
Okay, let's play a game that the aspect of you that gets triggered is a 3-year-old. Okay? By your definition, you just walked up to the 3-year-old and said, get over it, because you can.
And yeah, I mean, in so many words, I mean, I could show them a way to feel a different space. Like I've done it with 3-year-olds. You can teach a 3-year-old to change their emotional state from negative to positive, and I don't think that's damaging them. I mean, it's showing them that you can control, you can choose happiness. You can choose to not be, you know, obsessed over a comment.
That statement does not apply to certain conditions. Now, the reality is if you walk up to somebody, let's say let's say your daughter was just crushed in an automobile accident, and if I walked up to you and said, you get to choose happiness, I became abusive in that moment. So my issue with you right now is that you're not honoring the depth of people's pain. You're making pain wrong and happiness right.
And you do that to yourself too.
Most of all.
Right.
I mean, it's choice though, inevitably.
Oh yeah.
I've chosen to not be that way, and my life is better now. So I don't know. I'm so terrified of going the opposite direction, like being more empathetic, feeling more like.
Do you know what I want to do? I mean, I'm gonna have this is another fucking ridiculous hour of Teal authenticity moment. When I hear people say that happiness is a choice, all I want to do is to pay someone to kidnap them, to do all of this to them and tell them that. Because there are states on this planet where it is not a choice. And that's what people like you are the most afraid of. You don't want to believe that those states exist. Most likely because as a child, you already got into situations in life that made you feel like it wasn't a choice. But
No, it's because if other people are in control of my emotions, I'm hopeless.
I know. What if there are conditions on the planet that make you hopeless? What if that's a reality here?
I'm going to put up my defense systems to keep from being hopeless, because hopeless has no hope.
Maybe hopelessness is what you need to integrate instead of reject, is what I'm saying. What if there's a hopeless aspect of self that definitely needs to be integrated into the embodiment so that you can stop running from it, denying it, rejecting it, disowning it, and all of that? But what if you can't create integration with that aspect of self when you keep telling it it's a choice? I mean, have you ever told that to somebody? I mean, literally told that to somebody who's really in hell. Like I'm saying, walked up to somebody whose daughter just got crushed in an accident and say it's a choice to be happy. Like, what does that honestly do?
It sticks and stones will break my bones. Words will never hurt me. I mean, sticks and stones still hurt people.
Yeah.
Your dog getting in a, dying in a car accident is sticks and stones. That's not words. That's real shit.
Real shit is words too. And I will tell you, you better listen to this. Literally, looking at my childhood, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, the worst of all of them was emotional abuse. I would rather have my skin filleted off my body than half the shit that happened to me emotionally as a child.
But you don't think if you knew what you knew now, the emotional level of abuse would have been less? Not from the other person, from you internally. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I think it's important to evolve, so that we don't get so wrapped up in someone else that's trying to affect us emotionally and we're allowing it. Like, if we can evolve, we can see that they're trying to affect our emotions negatively and say, no thanks. I don't want that shit. That's yours. Keep it.
It's yours too.
I think kids get that. A 3-year-old gets that. A 3-year-old's like, trying to put shit on me. Keep it. It's yours.
It's yours too. You can literally, after having this conversation with you today, you don't get to say you believe in oneness anymore. So you should just strike that off your record.
I never said it. I said I understand it. I have not integrated it, and I don't like. But
you believe it.
Understand the reason my driving force is I'm tired of seeing people get hurt for no reason. It's the same driving force as you have. We're coming at things from a different angle, and we obviously, have different perspectives. I think I agree with you more than you think I do in this regard. I mean, I'm taking in what you're saying, and it's making sense. But
nobody heard
I
from
don't see that the reason I want this to stop is because it's hurting people, and it doesn't have to.
Nobody gets hurt for no reason. And you don't get to say it doesn't have to hurt you to get your leg blown off any more than you get to say it doesn't have to hurt you to emotionally get hurt. That's just you making a big difference between the physical body and like the emotional body.
If someone's loving it, if someone's loving sitting around all day watching the internet, waiting for stuff to trigger them for a few days, that's fine. They're great. Enjoy it. Like, some people truly do love that drama. I know people that love Facebook drama. They live for it. But there's other people that would love to get on with their life, that would love to, not be depressed all the time and not always be triggered by some trauma that happened 20 years ago. And they don't understand that they have the ability to control that and to not relive the trauma all the time. That's empowering. That's not disempowering. You see what I'm saying?
No.
You don't think it's disempowering to teach people that you have no control? Your old trauma from 20 years ago could resurface at any time and torment you for a month? Like,
nobody teaches that, and certainly I don't teach that. But like, the words that you are using, at least to convey what you are doing, conveys a brutality. It's like a drill sergeant version of control your own emotions. Don't honor your emotions. Your pain is not real. It's a choice how you feel. And so if you get hurt by something, it's your own fault.
I didn't say 80% of that. I said the first thing you said. The rest of that is not my belief. Because I don't believe you should not honor it. I believe the way to process it is to honor it. But move on. Like, realize that you don't have to sit in it. You have a choice as to how long, like, literally, you can set a timer for 3 minutes and deal with frustration or deal with
Okay,
anxiety.
no,
whatever, 3 minutes. After that 3 minutes, you're so sick of that emotion, it's gone.
Move on. Get over it is not honoring it. So you don't get to say, oh, I teach people.
5 years is not honoring it either, Teal. Being
You don't-
depressed for 5 years doesn't honor shit. That doesn't give you honor. That doesn't make you an honorable person.
Joseph, you don't get to say honor your emotions and then trivialize and minimize and dismiss like you just did.
I don't feel like I trivialized it. I feel like what I'm saying is empowering.
Put a timer on it.
Put a timer on it. Well, it's empowering to people. I've seen it work. This isn't my techniques only. I mean,
That's
I've
not
seen.
good. I mean,
No,
you don't want
it's
to put a
awesome. It's
timer on
amazing.
how fast you heal, because then that's like self-hate. Because you're like putting a timer. You have to get it done by this time.
No, it's
You
a
have to feel
choice.
better.
You don't have to do anything. It's a choice. I don't want to feel this way for another few hours, so I'm gonna use a technique that I can process it and look at it and feel it, not keep escaping it. Because for those people that are feeling it for a week, they're not actually feeling it. They're escaping it.
I'm not arguing that they are. In fact, what you just said was what you just said 10 seconds ago is the closest we've been to actually having a meeting of minds of how you address emotion. Perhaps the reactivity that we've got going here is that the words that are being used to convey your mentality convey brutality, frustration, irritation, minimization. I'm done with it. That type of energy. I don't want that near the emotional system. Perhaps in real practice, what you're arguing for is the same as what I'm arguing for. I'm just telling you, you've got to really, there cannot be a rush or a hurry or a frustration that someone isn't where you want them to be when you're dealing with the emotional system.
I mean, I'm okay with people being sad. I'm okay with people being depressed. But when people I care about are being hurt by other people I don't know, then I care. And if I can teach them a way to not be affected by a stranger, then I'm going to teach them a method. And I have lots of them. I have a ton of them. And most of them are mirror work and shadow work. It's not just forget it, get over it, choose happiness. That's not what I'm talking about.
But that's what you have been talking about for an hour. So it's almost like the way you conveyed yourself conveyed that you were into that.
I don't think I have. What I've been talking about is self-empowerment and belief that I have the power over my emotions. No one else does.
Can I ask you to do me a favor?
Sure.
When you rewatch this video, can you listen to the words that you used and the way you conveyed yourself? Because you did say those exact things multiple times.
I mean, I'm summarizing to get them to the end event. This is where they're at and this is where they're at. What I'm saying is the way I do that is not by saying get over it or choose happiness. It's not. I get it by saying, what is that person doing to you that makes you feel that way? What advice would you give them? Oh, does that advice pertain to you? It does, don't it? Feel that, take that advice, and now this other person becomes less important. And what they said actually becomes a gift because you can see something inside yourself because of what they said and because of how it triggered you. It becomes a gift. So like,
I'm not arguing with that.
What's that?
I don't argue with that.
So yeah, I mean, I think, and see, here's some brutal honesty from me, Teal Ridiculous Hour, brutal honesty as you talk about it, the brutal honesty minute. I think you're being sensitive to the language I'm using and calling it harsh and saying all this. I'm just speaking my truth. Like, I'm not trying to be harsh. I mean, I get that I have a way of talking that becomes like a lawyer, but I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just being this version of myself, which is kind of probably argumentative and lawyer-like, but I'm trying to get a point across, and this is the tone I take. But you're taking it as if I'm being insensitive, and I don't feel like I'm being insensitive. I'm just, that's like my voice. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a...
So you're going to be around only people who can take that brutality.
What's that?
Regardless of whether you're saying that this is just authentic, it's being received as brutality.
By you.
Yeah, so the reality is if I was a person...
Guys, I mean, I'm just saying there's other people in the room that aren't receiving it as brutal. It's wearing Steven out. Jordan, do you feel that the words I'm saying are brutal?
Well, there's a even ground there.
My point is, it's the perception.
Y'all need some water.
It's the perception that changes. It's not my words. My words are just my words. Everyone in the room is going to perceive them differently. Some people are going to think I'm an asshole. Some people are going to feel sorry for me. Some people are going to think I'm dead on. Probably no one, but that's neither here nor there.
I think you're dead on, but you're also an asshole.
I don't argue with that. I own asshole.
But you're a lovely asshole. And
I guess we got to wrap it up. I mean, we're way over. I mean, unless you know, you can keep going. But we were supposed to get some questions with Kim Neal. I appreciate you putting together the questions. I'm feeling like I won't get it until I watch this show for the third time. So. And if there's something else you want to cover too, I'm totally there. I'm trying to honor your time here because I made a commitment in terms of how long we would get to have you on. So
here's a question I have for you. Here's a question that I have for you. If I tell you that the way that you convey yourself is brutal, regardless of whether or not that's my perception of it, do you care enough to change that, or do you not give a shit?
I'm listening. In other words, I hear you saying that, and I would not like for other people to think that I'm brutal. But my salvation from self-hatred was authenticity. And authentically, right now, this is who I am. This is where I come from. This is who I am. And so that's all I have. Like that, all I have is who I am right now, and all I am is being authentic. So
okay, so where do you draw the line with authenticity then? Because like you could have somebody who basically starts smacking people.
Or like when your girlfriend says, does my butt look good in these jeans? Do you be authentic and say no? Or do you say yes and keep the peace and make her happy? I say yes and make her smile, because that's not, I mean, because to be honest, every girl I've ever dated, regardless of how big her butt is, I thought her butt looked good. So bad example. I always think butts look good, so bad example. But my point remains the same. Am I gonna like hurt someone's feelings just to be authentic? No, I'm not on purpose. I mean, unless I feel like they need it. I mean, if I feel like they need to hear some shit, you know, like I might sit them down and give them a little talk with, you know, come to Jesus with them. I mean,
she did ask, does my butt look?
Can you stick with my question?
Sure.
So let's pretend basically that I got mad at you. So I started screaming at you, and I started, you know, basically calling you names and things like that. But that's my authentic truth right now. That's how I feel about you. What do you want to do with that? I mean, is that just fine? And I say, you know what? If you're offended by that, it's your problem.
I mean, I think you've said a lot of things that could have potentially hurt my feelings in this interview. You've called me a lot of things, and
Yes,
I respect you for being honest with me, because there's so much bullshit out there. I respect the fact that you've given it to me like it is. You're a fucking asshole. Okay, I can hear that. Let me know why. Let's talk about it. Like what I'm fed up with in the world right now is the opposite of that, which is what's going on everywhere. Oh, you look so good. It's not real.
I like authenticity too, but you think that realness has to be brutality, and I'm telling you that it can be real also to want somebody basically to feel good. It can be
I try to make people feel good all the time. I do little bitty things that I will never post on Facebook to help make people feel good all the time, and I don't need to tell anybody about it, because that's for me. Like, I'm doing that to feel good for me. But I think, I don't know. I mean, maybe you're one of those people on Facebook that thinks I just am a raging asshole that just walks around being harsh all the time. I mean, I'm not that person. And my friends.
I'm not one of those people who even looks at it. I don't look at Facebook stuff. It's like really unlikely that I'm going to see anything because of all the crap that I'm involved in. But
I meant more like in the now. Like, you're looking at me, like seeing me. I truly feel like the way you're seeing me right now is not who I am. I mean, I'm okay with that. All I can do is be who I am, but I don't feel like you see who I am. Like, I feel like you think I'm more of an asshole than I am.
And I am actually trying to teach you.
And I respect you more than anyone. What's that? I'm sorry?
I'm telling you, you're more of a marshmallow than you think you are. That's what I spent this conversation today trying to prove to you.
Yeah, I guess that's my self-defense triggers that hear, you know, the other stuff, like I'm brutal and asshole and all these things. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm triggering you in the same way that you're triggering other people. That's exactly why I was doing this.
I'm looking at the triggers and saying, is that fair? Why am I feeling that way? Like, I'm processing it. I'm not mad at you in any way. I'm not pissed off. I'm not going to lose any sleep tonight. Like, and I don't feel like I haven't been present. I've been trying to feel what comes up for me, feel it, you know, and I mean, I just feel like it's a healthy place that I'm in terms of how I process my feelings. I don't escape them like I used to. I don't rely on other people's feelings about me to determine my feelings about me. I used to. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to get through my armor right now, but armor is not always bad. Like, for me, it's okay to have armor where can some stranger, you know, tell me a sentence that's gonna throw my emotional state from good to bad? No, they can't. Maybe for a second. I mean, my sister's good at it, you know, my sister's pretty good at that, but she knows me, you know, she knows what would hurt. What she uses is like me, you know, not being as good a father as I could be. She'll use those triggers to pull, because she knows I installed those triggers, but she knows where they are, and I still pull them, but she says the things that make me pull them. Make sense? But if I think she's pulling the trigger.
Joseph, if you decide that you want to live your life in a state of happiness, and that's your goal, not awareness, then that's fine. You're taking the correct approach.
I don't think I kind of got here without awareness. I mean, I never could have arrived where I'm at in terms of choosing happiness without the awareness of the other stuff.
Awareness has to include the opposite of happiness. It must. That's why I'm saying there are literally two types of spiritual practice. Two types. One type is, I'm going in the direction of happiness 100%. This is 101 spiritual stuff. I'm going in the direction of happiness. I create my own reality. I control everything in my bubble reality. It's the individual awakening, basically. But the graduated spiritual practice is the compensation of dualistic aspects. It is, I am this strong self, I am also the weak self. It is beauty, it is also pain. It is basically, let's say, call it an inclusive consciousness. So in inclusive consciousness, when we see a comment on Facebook and we have a reaction, we become conscious, like it sounds like you're teaching people to do, become conscious of that reactivity, hold space for the aspect of self that is injured, and also hold space for the aspect of self that is not injured. The higher self, for example, in that perspective, we are holding space for both. We're not spending our time constantly trying to get the, let's call it the more human aspect of ourselves to graduate, to grow up, as if there's something bad about it. We got to get the inner child to grow up into the adult self or into the higher self. The secret that people don't talk about is that the higher self is actually the inner child. The way you treat your inner child is whether you're going to essentially be in a living state of enlightenment or not. So those of us who spend our time trying to get the inner child to grow the hell up are actually in a state of disapproval for the inner child. It's a little trick in the universe.
I think, yeah, I mean, I use immaturity to get back to the inner child. I use massive and unadulterated immaturity and lack of adulting. It works. To the degree it does. To the degree that it does. Cool. So are we good on that subject? I'll text you in a week or so when I watch this 4 times, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I got. Because I'm listening. I don't want you to think I'm not listening to you when I'm stubborn and bullheaded. That's just, that's my argumentative self. But I'm listening to you now, and I will listen to you again later.
Okay.
I respect you, and I think you're awesome.
I can tell. No, I can't tell. But
you can't tell I think you're awesome?
no, these are the most antagonistic interviews that I have are with you. So of course I couldn't tell that. Why would I be able to tell that?
See, I feel like
It's true.
okay, there's a mirror there. I feel like you've been picking on me for an hour, and I'm okay with that. I actually like being picked on, but I feel like you've been like, and I even tried to change it, be like, let's just make this more calm, and you're like, no, I'm going after Zenner. I got him against the ropes, so why would I let him down now?
This is what's funny, is the perception on two sides of the, let's say, circumstance can look so incredibly different. From your perspective, it's like Teal's been picking on me and been going at me. From my perspective, it's like I'm trying to get him to get a point. Now he's getting defensive. Now I'm trying to get him to get the point. Now he's being antagonistic. Okay, I have to get more aggressive to get him to the point.
I appreciate that. That's real. See, I appreciate that more than you know.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, no, it's true for one aspect of him. And this is like literally, if you just forget all of it. I mean, literally everything that we just talked about, and only consider the fact that you have this split in you between these aspects of self. And one aspect of you, let's call it either Shane or Joseph, the aspect of you that's coped very well with the world and who has learned how to control your emotions and everything, is not really allowing the space for the aspect of you that still exists in you, that more vulnerable part that doesn't feel good when I'm as direct as I was during this interview.
I do get weird, like, happy buzzes, though, when people are actually real with me, because there's just so much, like, smoke blown around me specifically. I'm a bullshitter, so I know bullshit. So when people shoot straight with me, I freaking love it. I really do. I get it. Maybe that's one aspect of me loving it, but either way, I love it.
So here's the thing. So what that says to me is there's an aspect of you somewhere that was wounded so badly by inauthenticity that it's trumping all the other aspects right now. Now, I'm going to tell you that's the same for me in my career. I have an aspect that loves the stage so much that I'm going to trump all the other aspects that are terrified of it.
Yeah.
But what if I could create more cohesion within my embodiment so that I didn't have to bulldoze them to get on stage, for example?
Yeah, I hope everyone has these double aspects that we talked about here today, so this show wasn't all about me, but I think we do, right? I mean, like, everyone's got it. Is everyone in the room seeing their, like, double-sidedness
Yes,
like
I
that?
relate to a lot of this as we discussed.
Oh, I'm gonna get much more aggressive with you. Instead of say that everybody has the double-sidedness, I'm gonna say literally multiplicity is an understatement. Some people have hundreds of selves.
That would be me.
Baby J, yeah, at least 100 Baby J.
Maybe a few thousand of mine.
And they're all lovely.
Ask my wife if that's true.
Yeah, Jessica, is that true, honey? I don't think they're all lovely.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, what we have to get is that we basically are in a relationship with all of them, not just one of them. So I feel like even when we're in relationships, not just in relationships with ourselves, when we're in relationships with other people, we've got to get to know the multiplicity of selves within them. To realize, like, okay, who's present with me right now? Who is this right now? How are they going to react? How is what I'm going to say going to affect this aspect of him versus this aspect of him? Like, for example, let's say that, let's just use me. I'll use a personal example. I have a husband that loves to theorize, like he's obsessed with it. But I know that he's got these two fragments. One of his fragments is super insecure about relationships. And the other aspect is like super curious and a philosopher and loves theoretical situations. So let's say I bring up a theoretical situation that involves like cheating on someone. I know that one aspect of him is going to be like all super fascinated with the idea of like the what if. And the other aspect of him is going to be like trembling, going, my God, what does this mean for the relationship? Does it mean that she's going to break up with me? I have to be aware of both aspects.
Yeah, it's a very important thing to do.
Right on. So, Tia, I was thinking maybe you should come to Houston. There's some people here that need help.
I will be coming to Houston. I don't even know the dates. Somebody should have told me.
April 15th, she'll be here, you guys. And everyone's really excited about it. The buzz has already hit the town. There's going to be a lot of new faces at this one. I'm excited. I'm super excited that so many people have found you in the last like 2 to 3 to 4 months. Have y'all noticed that? Like people are telling me about Teal Swan in the last few months, huh?
I think I found her 4 years ago.
Yeah, I found her 5 years ago. I'm saying, but in the last 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 months, I'm having people tell me about you, and just more receptiveness, but in general, just more, I don't know, I'm hearing more talk about you. And not from your haters. I don't, your haters aren't here. You're picking the right town to come to Houston. I don't know anyone in this town that is not about you, honestly. I mean, granted, I don't hang out with douchebags, but
Thank you.
so that was that. But yeah, we're happy to have you back. I don't think y'all have a location yet, right? So we can't give that away yet. But you can go to tealswan.com to find their location when it is going to be announced. And you know what I'm going to offer people is when you invite people to this, don't just go to her Facebook event and invite your friends in Houston and anywhere within 2 days driving. But like, I think so many times I've seen people do this where they're like, oh, she would like it. Oh, he would. Oh, he's not ready for it, but she's ready. Like that's old stuff. Like this is 2017. Let's invite all the friends and let them decide whether they're ready for it.
Are you trying to give her more haters? Or
I don't. The people that are meant to come to this thing are meant to come to it. I don't think you're gonna find any haters like that.
They'll come when
That's a
they're ready.
vibrational thing. But you're not allowing people the opportunity to get this stuff if you're like writing them off before they even see it. Like, oh, they're not ready. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Diversify, let everyone see.
Diversify, brother. Exactly.
No bias.
This is a time for diversification.
Exactly. Well, I think we're out of time for you, Teal. Any closing thoughts?
No.
Thank you for,
Okay, we heard him. I don't know if everyone else got that, but I heard it loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Ladies, gentle germs, extraterrestrials, multidimensionalists. This is Sherita Perez, www.sheritaperez.com. Stay tuned.
Walking by myself, talking all the grief. I wanna see my fingers dangle out from the earth to the sea. I need to look all around me, see peace in the faces I meet. I wanna see love trees gathered round the circle of the leaves. I wanna see and feel blue skies in my eyes. I wanna see and feel blue skies in my eyes. Everywhere I hear people talking about the things that they believe. Everybody's sharpening the knives, looking for a chance to bleed. But not me and mine. Oh no, we wanna take it slow and just be. We wanna taste breath of uncertainty. We wanna see and feel blue skies, in our eyes. We wanna see and feel blue skies. I wanna reach my heart and soul down low, touch the people and places I know. My tickets in the future in the sun, the triumphs we have won together. Face the stormy weather and still see. I wanna see blue skies in my. I wanna see and feel blue skies with you. Ooh, I wanna see and feel blue skies in my eyes. That's the one I'm releasing in April on the 8th that I mentioned in the car on the way over.
Right. Yeah.
So this chair's kind of awkward, but I'm gonna do the best I can. All right. So I'm keeping this kind of. I write many different songs. I'm a songwriter, but the past year I've been writing a lot of songs about positive change through action and manifestation. So they're not as exciting or fast-paced as some of the other ones, but I don't like to speak some of the words that I wrote before. I will on a special occasion, but this isn't that occasion. So they might be a little slow tonight. So I was near Lake Travis with my good friend Joe, and I was so angry and lost for a long time. And something came over me while I was out there in the moon. And I wrote a song called Moonfall. Why did the moon fall down under the blanket of stars all around? Here I sit with you, wandering into what's right and what's true. True. Tell me, what do you adore? Gratitude is what's in store. Won't you share some more? Knock and open the door. Open the door. Knock and open the door. Open the door. Cycles surround, frequencies abound. Fill your eyes with it. The way is and you ask, why did the moon fall down? So the sun could come around. Why then do we fall down? So the way up can be found. Ooh, we fall down. So the way up can be found. Moonfall.
I love that.
Can I
Absolutely.
get a little more water?
Never.
I wish I had a Ricola. I always have them with me. Let's see. I'll do one more for you today. So dive deep, or do you want to hear a song about diving deep, or do you want to hear a song about Big Sur?
Big what?
Big Sur.
Big Sur.
I was in tour and I wrote a song about Big Sur, California.
Big Sur and diving deep in Big Sur.
Okay, I did that actually. Yeah, we can do that. I like this one. You are not a drop in the ocean, but an entire ocean in a drop. The redwoods make you feel so small, but you can learn from tall things if you stop. If you listen to the Pacific as it whispers in your ear. The night is coming soon, you can see it all so clear. If you only quiet down, then you will surely hear everything you need to hear. If you the ocean, but an entire ocean in a drop. The redwoods make you feel so small, but you can learn from tall things if you stop. If you Thanks, sir.